Now, 'tis the season for a nice cold or warm glass of apple cider, but if hard cider is what you're into, there's something you have to check out. I met with some of the guys behind the Kansas City Cider Company. For the first time this weekend, their cider will be served in restaurants around town.
This building was built in 1950, 1951.
A perfect spot for young entrepreneurs who have a thirst for combining their passion with history.
We are in what is the old Pearl Brewery, or the old Getz Brewery, up in St. Joseph, Missouri.
But the four friends, two of them brothers, all of them home brewers, aren't making beer. They're making hard cider.
We have the same stigma that I think most people have about cider, that it's sugary, that it's overly sweet, that it's simple, not very complex, that it is for people who don't like alcoholic beverages.
We started exploring a little bit more what was on the coasts and found that there were actually good ciders that had flavor instead of just syrup in it.
So they got to work.
Our very first batch, we actually brought to our basement on the back of one of our motorcycles in a 5-gallon container, and had no idea what we were doing.
It took a lot of reading and a lot of experimentation and to figure out that there was all kinds of stuff we could be doing to make sure everything is perfect in our ciders.
Sure enough, the KC Cider Company was born.
All of our apples are real apples. They're not concentrates, they're not last year's apples, they're not anything like that. We use fresh, pressed juice.
And then from that point, we bring it back here, we do a little bit of testing on it, make sure our blend is perfect. Too much acid, it's gonna be really tart, your tongue's gonna get really dry, it's gonna just be unpleasant. With high pH or high base, it's really not gonna have a lot of characteristics. And then we move over to doing our yeast. So we have a couple of strains of yeast that we use right now. We do that so that we have complexity in our cider. If you use just one yeast, you're going to get the same characteristics from those yeast every time. After about 3 days, cider will start to look like this. It starts to clarify, it gets a little less dark. And so this is about 3 days, this is about 5 days, and this is about 14 days.
Other than fresh apple juice, there's something else that makes this hard cider different.
A lot of other cideries will back sweeten their cider and make it really sweet. And what that does is two things. One, it hides flaws so they don't have to be as good at making cider. And two, it appeals to a wider audience.
An audience who may soon be changing the way they think of hard cider.
I could not be more excited that we are getting ready to actually give this to the world here, like really soon.
I have completely changed my mind about cider after that. Now, they have also created a dry hop cider that may appeal to beer drinkers. And it's one of their 2 releases that they'll be releasing this weekend. Alexis, this one tasted so good. When you think of hops, you think of a little bit of bitterness, right? I don't like that. This cider doesn't have it. It just has the smells. So you're gonna have to go out there on their social media page to find out where those restaurants are gonna be, where you can try this cider. They're keeping it a secret from me until the very end. But I got to tell you, the best hard cider I've had.
Oh, can't
Truly.
wait to try that once it's at the restaurant.